graduated from Sac Community High School with the class of 1992. While in high school, he said he enjoyed choir-related activities and felt he learned a lot from Mr. Rock. He recalled good times at track and cross-country, and also enjoyed science, English, and math classes. Todd attended Iowa State University for 3 years and then graduated from William Penn University with a bachelor's degree in business. He served in the military for 9 years and then worked for a year with the Iowa Drug Enforcement Agency. Todd is a self-proclaimed computer nerd. He is currently employed as a computer consultant for SharePoint 11. In recent years, Todd was employed by Solonite Consulting and Microsoft Corporation. He received the Microsoft Most Valuable Professional Award for 4 years in a row. Todd has traveled extensively, making presentations at professional conferences all over the United States and in many foreign countries, including Barcelona, Dubai, UAE, Istanbul, Turkey, Sweden, and Germany. Todd has authored 2 computer books, with a 3rd one in the works. He also was a contributing author for 2 other books, as well as having 2 magazine articles published. Todd resides in Ames, Iowa, with his wife Jill and daughter Lily. They are expecting a 2nd child in May. Ladies and gentlemen, Todd Clint.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank my anonymous benefactor, who I can only imagine submitted my name as a gag, and for the trustees for going along with the joke and go ahead and let me in. I appreciate that. I'd like to thank my parents, Mary and Larry, my very understanding wife, Jill, who for the last month I've made refer to me as her husband and future Hall of Famer. I thought that really got me into the spirit of things. This was kind of a surprise and a big honor. I've seen the Hall of Fame out there, seen people, friends of mine like Scott Stanzel, and really, like Miss Kay said, really didn't think of myself as someone who's worthy of that. When I got this stuff and they said, well, this is to talk about the importance of education, the education we've got in Sac City, I thought, well, it's absolutely true. I really don't think I would be where I am, wherever that might be, without the education that I got. And as I grow older, I've got a 2.5-year-old daughter now, and another one that's due in a week. I think about my formative years more as I look towards their formative years. And I live in Ames, a larger town, 50,000 people, and I look at what my children's educational experience is going to be in contrast to what mine was. And they're going to have tremendous opportunities available to them that I never had. But they're also going to lose some stuff. I think the intimate relationship with the teachers is one thing that I don't know that they're going to get that I definitely got. I consider a lot of my teachers friends that I had, and even Mr. Rock was one that I mentioned. Several times a month, I quote things that the man said. He was hysterical. I learned a lot of life lessons from him. I remember at one time, lamenting about being in this small town and wanting to go out to see the world. And Mr. Rock grew up in Clinton, which is a larger town, and he said, well, it's not all that it's cracked up to be. He said, when you're in Sac City, if you go out and you see somebody you don't know, it's kind of a strange thing, but when you get out in the rest of the world, you get into big towns, when you go out and you see somebody you do know, it's a big deal. It's, there's a difference in intimacy, and it's not a bad thing. And as I've grown up, he was right, I'll be damned. And so, there's just a lot of that kind of stuff. And a lot of the things that I learned here, and even on this very stage, helped me get where I am now. I had the opportunity to do a lot of things in speech and drama and choir, And the beauty of being in a small town is you don't necessarily have to be the best to have those opportunities. And you don't have to start doing it when you're 4 to be able to do it when you're in high school. You can try all these things, and they help get me prepared for doing stuff. I couldn't go up and speak in front of thousands of people without having that background and being used to it, having some of the guidance that I got when I was here, doing the singing, doing the Pirates, Penzance, and West Side Story, and all that kind of stuff. Even as a wee little whippersnapper, it helped give me that foundation that I want, and got me where I am. And it's interesting, Sac City is a pretty small place. In the big ecosystem, the big wide world, it just doesn't pop up very much. But on multiple occasions, I've told people that I'm from Iowa, and they've said, do you know where Sac City is? And it never ceases to amaze me. The first time that happened was a couple of years ago. I was at a big conference in Orlando, and 10,000 people, their big computer nerd conference. And just happened to be in a bar, a mixer, random people sitting next to a guy making small talk, asking what we do and all that kind of stuff. He's from Boise. grows potatoes, whatever. And he says, "Where are you from?" And I said, "I'm from Iowa." He says, "Do you know where Sac City is?" And I'm like, "Yeah, do you know where Sac City is?" And turns out he was a computer trainer, and somebody from Sac had bought some stuff and owed him some money. It wasn't necessarily a great story, but he'd been here, he was familiar with it. And when he thought of Iowa, when I said I'm from Iowa, the first thing out of his mouth was, "That's where Sac City is." And that was really strange. So I went home and I told my wife that. My wife Jill grew up in Lakeview, so we're all together. So about 6 months later, I'm out in Seattle, another big nerd conference. A buddy of mine works in Texas, wanted to introduce me to his boss. We're talking, chit-chatting. "Where are you from?" "I'm from Iowa." He says, "Do you know where Sac City's at?" And at this point, I'm looking for cameras. I'm wondering, is there a... And I say, "Yeah, I grew up there. Do you know where Sac City's at?" He says, "Yeah, my wife's from there." So now, the party that we both knew, this friend of mine, Matt's kind of a jokester. And so at this point, this guy thinks that Matt's been feeding me information. And he says, "Okay, when did you graduate?" I said, "Well, 92. He says, "My wife graduated in 90. I said, "Well, I probably know her. I come from a small town, you know everybody." And he said, "Her name's Mindy Haas." I said, "Oh, yeah, I know Mindy." And he's looking at my buddy the whole time, just trying to think of how much details his buddy knows. And so, he's like, "Oh, really?" So I'm like, "Yeah, you got older brother Tim, younger brother Matt." So I go on and on. And at this point, he's really confused. It's like 10 o'clock in Seattle. They live in Austin. I see him go, "Just a second." Gets out his phone. "Hello. Yeah, Tim, something. Do you know a Todd Quinn?" "Damn it." "Oh, yeah, Todd Quinn." But it just goes to show that wherever I go, I tell people I'm from, and we've talked many times since then, but for a lot of people, and it's surprising that it's come up even twice, when they think of Iowa, they think of Sac City, and that's just something that I've got. It's been fun. I'm not, there were times in my life when being from a small town wasn't anything that I was too excited about. But as I get older, it's kind of fun, and it's worked out. And another thing that I find interesting is, like the brochure said, I consider myself a professional computer nerd. That's what I am. That's what I do. Written some books, talked to some people, all that kind of stuff. But it's just been kind of funny to see all that stuff that got me stuffed in the lockers and made fun of by girls. Kind of paid off. It kind of worked something out of that. And, but I do owe a lot of it to this building, to this stage, and to some of these people. Some of my teachers are out here in the audience. And it's been a good thing. So I definitely, my nieces and nephews are growing up in Sac, and I'm a little jealous, and I hope they make the best of it. I hope they get out of it as much as I can. Thank you.